up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Hello, welcome to Wake Up Africa, a special segment that we've started to kind of decolonize our minds, open up our hearts to the true possibility of who we are, and to an expanded narrative so that we can expand our power. And really, part of the awakening, a lot of people keep thinking that the awakening is, how are we going to awaken everyone? How are we going to get everyone online? But this awakening, as I said, it's unstoppable because it's like an alarm bell is going off the hearts and minds of every single African across global Africa. There's different communities that have also contacted me and said they're awakening too. All good, all awesome, but we are we have been the most systematically eliminated, systematically targeted by this current system. And so for us, our survival, and rarely have all these other people that are awakening, rarely have they actually, stood with us and stood for our cause and tried to stand up against some of the atrocities that we've experienced. So as much as people say the whole world is awakening, really, we're looking at the global Black family, global African family to see what's happening. And you see, what I told you guys is this world is mental. Where
the native Aboriginal people of North America, the United States, who now believe they are Hebrew Israelites, have been sold a mammoth lie that they are being awakened. As you heard that small intro by Dr. Mumbi Seraki in Africa, with the intro saying, "Wake up, wake up, wake up Africa," which is a satanic, demonic social programming chant of a witch telling you to wake up or be awakened into knowledge. But who is really controlling the so-called awakening process that everybody's talking about today, saying, "I am woke," that is spreading like rapid fire throughout the world? Is it the same people who enslave you with 9-to-5 jobs, poison you, corrupt your kids, the very same people who enslave you and have the ability to pay you from the paper money they print freely from a machine, who control the whole production process of this world? They own the house that you pay rent on. They own the food that you eat and the spit in your mouth, and you have a mortgage. They also own that. Is it the same people which is your government? The answer is yes. Your government, the satanic, demonic system which worships the Trinity, Satan himself, is spearheading the awakening process that so many dummies, children of Satan, are being awakened into. But why? Because your government wants you to awaken into a deception, but never the truth. They make themselves the leaders of everything, the leaders of all opposition, so they can soak you back into a deception. So you will never find the creator of heaven and earth, but rather go to hell with your father, whom you choose to serve and acknowledge knowingly or unknowingly, instead of the creator. Somebody may wonder, but why does the government, who has the ability to print money freely, who own all the property in the world and the whole entire production process, why are they interested in spearheading knowledge and awakening you, or the awakening process rather, that's going on in the world? It is because money, power, control are all tools which cannot be compared to the price of a human soul, which is the most important stuff in the world. So yes, the government is interested in your soul because Satan owns the government. So the question now arises, are you really awakening, or are you awakening into another deception?
The biggest misconception is when we think that one is awakened when he comes into the truth about being a true Israelite, or the truth about the Messiah as it relates to his appearance being the Negro.
This evening to the urgent warning, now that 4 countries are on the brink of famine. 20 million people, families and children. Tonight right here, we're with the doctors who are in a race against time as we travel with the American woman who runs Save the Children. You're about to see what we witnessed in Somaliland, an autonomous region in northern Somalia, as millions now face starvation across the Horn of Africa. We set out to reach some of the most remote villages in Somaliland. There's an urgent crisis unfolding largely unnoticed by the rest of the world. Families and children at risk of starvation. In the first village, Harashef, the line begins early in the morning. They know the trucks are coming.
How many hours away?
That would be like 2 hours, close to 2 hours drive, yes.
To get from the nearest water site.
Yes.
Here, it's not just the food they need, but water. Save the Children just trucking it in.
You haven't had a drenching rain here in years.
Yeah, it hasn't rained in close to 3 years now.
Halima, a mother of 5, stands in line. All of her livestock is gone. They have no food. We asked the last time there was any rain. She remembers the day. It happened once, last year. On the hill sit 2 trucks to deliver water for hundreds of families.
If you look over my shoulder here, you'll actually see that this is what it's like as these families come here every single day to get water.
We witness a rush of families trying to get to the hoses that would give them enough water to last just a couple of days. We journey from west to east. 70% of the livestock, the farm animals, have died.
It's really everywhere you look.
This mother is among the many forced to move closer to a village, hoping.
The system of the world, which is run by Satan and the worshippers of Satan, who is your government, have all agreed to paint Africa in a bad, shady light. They always want you to believe that Africans are suffering, that they are in penury, they are primitive, apes and chimpanzees, and always requiring help. I want to ask you a question now. If the source of life came from Africa, and Africans are primitive, apes and chimpanzees, if we have all believed that the source and origin of life, which we all agree, came from Africa, I want to ask you a very good question at this point in time. If your parent is primitive and gives birth to a child who's modern and civilized, would the child likewise say that the parent is not civilized or modern? Ask the child. Because you need to ask the question, if the child today is modern and civilized, where do you think the child would have gotten the ability to be modern and civilized from? It would have been from the parent, because the parent gave birth to you. And without a parent, a child would not exist, because every child born into this world comes from a parent. So why is Africa or Africans or black people painted to be primitive apes and chimpanzees, and the whole entire world system of government, including the African government, agrees that Africa should be painted in such a bad light? Because Satan wants you to believe in albanic supremacy, or white supremacy as they call it. But why is that? So who really controls the African narrative? It's the government, the whole entire system of world government, including the African government. But who really is the government? Someone will say, I know it's the Vatican. But who really runs the Vatican? Some will say the Pope. But who really runs the Pope? Where does he get his instructions from? Don't you want to know? I'm sure you don't. You're still thinking your 9-to-5 job and pennies you save for everything else but the truth will be enough to keep you from worrying about this, and your little drugs and dispensaries where you get them from will be enough to numb all these hard truths from your brain, which you wishfully choose to deny. Pitiful. But why is that? Because there are two types of people in the world. One are the children of Satan listening right now, and this will be forgotten by the time they're done hearing.
Possibility of 4 famines at once.
As the children are weighed, parents here are given Pumpina, the packet of nutrients that in the early stages can bring a child back.
Where are you? Where are you?
And in a brief escape, we see the smiles here when we show some of the children their own faces in our phone. A rare moment of joy in a region crushed like hunger. That boy with the band now sent off for emergency care, and the next wave of children right behind him. So many of you have already been tweeting me, writing to us on Facebook, asking how you can help. Save the Children points out that pumping nut you saw there in the report, that peanut butter and nutrients costs about 50 cents. $10 would feed a child for more than a week. You can learn much more on the World News Tonight Facebook page, and of course, much more of our journey tonight on the brink of famine. That's tonight on Nightline.